Sarah, you going to do food again for part 2? Panel, so I think you should.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you had fun during that time.
That was the best panel that there was. I mean, I enjoyed Tony's panels, and I enjoyed Because Geeks panels. But other than somebody that I went there, you know, well, I did go there specifically to see you, and I'm not just saying that because you're our partner. Like, I felt like your PowerPoint and everything was just on point. You know, a lot of other people walked in there very ill prepared.
Well, they have personality and charismatic qualities to make up for that. I went in with my PowerPoint. It was a big crutch.
Well, you don't give yourself enough credit.
We're talking a little bit about the Con of Thrones, and it's just been a wonderful and very interesting event for all of us.
A learning curve.
Very much an interesting event. And I just want to say hello to everyone. Hello to everyone in our chat.
There's Nancy T.
Yeah, Nancy and Laura and Alicia. Hey, Alicia.
Hey, AK.
Bran.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Bran. How you doing, Bran? How you doing? Terry T and BB.
Hey, Terry.
Thank you all so
Now, that was somebody I enjoyed meeting at Con, was Terry T. That's a nice lady right there.
Terry T. I missed her.
Yeah.
Jason Buckwell. Oh, I remember Jason. Hello, Jason. This is Misha. Jason is a Capcom fighter he's a Street Fighter player. So hello, Jason. What's up? From the Capcom Fighters Network. Thank you all. Thank you for joining me tonight. We're having a live stream. We're having a live stream on Tyrion. And Tyrion is a character from the Game of Thrones. It's a wonderful television show and a wonderful book series. Jason, if you haven't figured it out, if you haven't read it, I suggest you pick up the book. It's a very, very interesting book. It's a series of 5, and they are wonderful, wonderful books. I also want to give a shout out to Marie. Hey, Marie, how you doing? And Sarah C. Oh, there's you, Sarah. Hey. Yeah, we're doing Tyrion tonight, and I just want to welcome everyone to my stream and to my channel, and welcome to our stream. To our live stream, where we're doing a weekly book club, and we're discussing Tyrion tonight.
So you guys corrected me. So if it's a V and a 1, is that 6?
Yeah, that's the number 6.
I wasn't sure if it was 6 or 11.
Yeah, the Roman numeral 6.
Yeah, it's tricky to me. No, well, I mean, it's not funny, but yeah, thanks. All right, that one.
Would you two like to introduce yourselves, and we can go ahead with our overview?
Sure. So I've been talking a lot already. My name is Sarah. Thank you for having me on book club. We normally do it on Thursdays. Tonight we're doing it on a Friday, and thanks for rolling with us, because that's what we're doing. We're going to talk about Tyrion, and it's a good chapter. It's a good chapter. I'm excited. It's short and it's good, so it's good book club material.
Oh yeah, it is very good material. Very, very good. Jennifer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey y'all, I'm Jen, Lady Wolverton. Everybody just calls me Jen. Everybody knows that. And just glad to be here at book club. Yeah, Tyrion, great chapter. And yeah, let's get this party started. Get it on.
Sarah, go ahead. Please be your overview.
Sure. So I'm wearing a Tully shirt because the Tullys had a really bad chapter last week. I am very glad that Tyrion was able to talk his way, fight his whatever happened. He got himself out of that Tully pickle, but I feel Tully's did not have a good week, so I'm wearing a Tully shirt tonight. 3 things happen. They come down the mountain. Tyrion basically baits them in. So we've got Bronn and Tyrion very rudely taken out of the Eyrie. There's no honorable way that they can keep them there, so they let them go. Then Bronn and Tyrion they bond and sort of get a sense of their transactional relationship. And then the Mountain Clan's been come in. So that's the 3 things that happen. And I'll start with my notes on the first thing, and then we can just go to parts 2 and 3. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally
all right. In the very first sentence, they had taken shelter beneath a copse of aspens just off the high road. I had to look up the word COPS. It looks like corpse, but without the R. It's a small group of trees. Did you know that?
I did.
I didn't. Did you, Misha?
Yeah, I knew what that was. When I saw the word aspens, I knew what an aspen tree was.
I could tell from the context of what it was, but I was like, I need to know what that is. All right, so Tyrion's trying to start a fire, and he's like, Morik always did it for me. And you look up Morik, and there's no information on Morik. I think he's like sort of a typo. They don't ever talk about him dying, but they like make reference of him taking Tyrion up to the wall. So yeah, we lost him somewhere, but Morik used to light the fires. All right, so basically, Bronn says, let's just ride hard and ride hard by night and hide during the day. And Tyrion is like, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to just bring them to us. And then, he sort of planned we're going to light a fire. We're going to either die comfortable or it's a great chapter, or I'm going to be able to, it's sort of like wear it like armor. Like you're bringing the weakness, the attack. He surprises us a lot in this chapter. I feel like because we haven't seen him, he and Bronn talk like this. Does anyone have anything to say? I've been babbling a lot, and I feel like someone should probably cut in.
I can help you a little bit with it. Tyrion and Bronn are on the road together. They know they're going to get caught. So basically, Tyrion is like, "Hey, let's just be comfortable. Let's enjoy ourselves, and we're just going to roll the dice like he's been doing. He has to roll the dice with Liza Aaron and his trial. So he's saying, let's just keep that going. That strategy is working. So let's just roll the dice. Let's just be comfortable. We're going to get caught. They knew it from the beginning. So just... Tyrion knew. Bronn, yeah. He's pretty much asking Bronn to trust in him. Bronn has his plan. He wants to go riding through the nights and holding up through in the day. But Tyrion is not a coward like that. He's not that way.
Well, he's also not a warrior. Like he can't ride hard all night like the way Bronn can. Like no, that's not going to work for him.
No, of course not, because of his legs and because of his stature. He knows that's not his way. His way is his wits. He's going to face the danger, head on, and use his wits as his sword and shield and armor. That's how he has lived through the world. He's not a cowardly man, but he knows he's much shorter in stature. He's facing a world that's taller and more powerful than him. So he's trying to make his way by using his wits, just like he did, at his trial. And that's what he's doing here. That's his way.
He really undresses Bronn, it seems like. Well,
he tells Bronn that, the reason I knew that you would fight for me is because, you volunteered to be, you volunteered to bring me up to the Vale. But you saw, what Lady Catelyn would have done to you was hand a few coins to you and with an unpleasant look on her face, give you a few words of thanks. But I knew you were about the money. Yeah. And I rolled the dice on you as well.
That bloody, precious honor, that precious, bloody honor. Like
you, however, do not know the Starks. Courage, loyalty, and honor. She would have paid you with a kind word, and I dare say she would have found a few coins for you, but she wouldn't have, taken you into her household or anything else. And he said, and I could tell that you were about the money. So I basically rolled the dice on you. And this is when Bronn says, you have a bold tongue. One day someone is likely to cut it out and have you eat it. And I think this is the first foreshadowing we get that when people say Tyrion may lose his tongue.
Well, I certainly hope that doesn't happen to him.
Wouldn't that be the worst? It'd be worse than Jaime losing his sword hand, arguably. But I mean, there's a character that mysteriously is never mentioned. I don't know. Maybe this is just so early not to get, I mean, what do they call it? Meta? When you get all like thinking about what version book are we even reading at this point? I don't know when this is all published. I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking.
Yeah, we're with Tyrion, and they're talking, and they're sizing each other up. They're sizing each other up, and
Tyrion, everyone says that. Everyone says that. Did I offend you? My pardons, duty, honor, friendship. What is that to you? I rolled the dice and was counting on you. Scum you may be, you are useful. Gold, women, what do you want? Keep me alive and you shall have it.
Mm-hmm. Sarah, did you have a comment?
I thought you were going to read right up to the part that I highlighted, but
go ahead then.
Yeah, my favorite part of this is when he says, I have no doubt you'd betray me as quick as you did Lady Stark if you saw a profit in it. If the day ever comes when you're tempted to sell me out, remember this, Bronn, I'll match their price, whatever it is. I like living, and just now you think you can do about something finding us supper. So I love that, like, highborn Tyrion is like he's trying to light a fire, because that's one of the things, like, Tysha knew how to light a fire. He didn't know how to light a fire. That was like a crazy class difference for them, I remember. I think that's why he was kind of thinking about it. Like, so that's why I think he's thinking about Tysha a little bit. Because he starts talking about her in 5 minutes, but like, I'm so smart and foreshadowing. Like, but
a Gilly Sam parallel.
So did they do that on the show, where he can't light a fire,
yeah,
but she
they
can?
Certainly did, and you're what made me just think of that.
Oh, that's a sweet element tucked into the show. I like thinking about things that happen. Okay, all right, well, that's sweet.
But they also go very deeply into Tyrion's psyche and very much into his emotions and his childhood and what has made him the way that he is. And they go to this by using his memory of his first wife. Well, her name was Tysha, and it was such a horrible thing that happened. It was such a horrible thing. Back when he was a child, he and Jaime were out on the road hunting, and they run up on this girl that's being chased by these men with her clothes torn.
It was a night much like tonight.
Yes, it was just like, wow. And I'm not doing the overview by this, but I mean, it was just such a sad and horrible story. And George R. Martin doesn't shy away from the grotesque. And this was probably the first chapter where things got bad. You know, I mean, things have been getting bad, but when you read a story like this chapter had the first instance of something horrible, that horrible things happen in this world, especially to women. This woman was being chased by these men with her clothes torn off. Jaime runs them away and goes to Casterly Rock for help. Tyrion is left alone with her. They're drinking, they're eating, they're having a good time.
I love. Listen, the food porn addict is like, she was so hungry. She ate 2 chickens and nearly a third one. I'm like, that's right, Tyrion. You feed that woman and you will marry her.
So you guys, though, when he gives Mord that money and says, if ever there should come a day when you are unhappy and Lady Aaron's service, present yourself at the Rock and you'll get paid the rest. Do you guys think he really means money, or like he would exact some revenge on him?
I think it's a threat. Like if you're stupid enough to show up in Castle Rock, I will burn you and bury you with the Castamere.
Yeah,
no one will hear from you again.
I fully agree with the both of you. That was a threat.
Yeah,
I think he wanted him, to go to Castle Rock asking for money, and so he'll get the true payment that he deserves. Meaning you'll get beaten or you'll be killed. You'll be killed.
I know the whole reason that the story of Tysha gets brought up is because when Tyrion is collecting the firewood, he's singing a little song, and then he opens up to Bronn and says,
"And
this is something."
It's a Myrish song, and I'm like, how does Tysha know Myrish lyrics? But go ahead. Yeah. There's.
So and so I mean, I guess you guys all know the theory that the hoe at the Happy Port, the one that insists on a marriage ceremony before she'll screw you, basically, is Tyrion's Tysha.
Yes.
The one at the brothel in Bravos. It makes sense, especially being that I think she sings in the books, and then she always wants to be married, and then she'll spend the night with you, but she always wants to go through that fake wedding ceremony. I honestly don't know anything about that. I'm gonna have to reread that.
I know that theory, but I like the idea that Tysha's dead and she doesn't even have to deal with any of this shit right now. Isn't that terrible?
Do you really think she's dead though? Because
I don't think she's dead.
He's so upset. Where do whores go? Where do whores go? Where do whores go? Where do whores go? And it's like, they didn't do her in the show. They sort of did her in the show. They don't.
Jennifer, the whore at the Happy
Port.
At the Happy Port.
In Bravos.
What chapter is that in? In
that's in Feast. Chapter? I think that's in Feast. You see her through the singer that is supposed to go out and help recruit. They bring with them Tyrion or somebody.
It's either Sam or Arya. Sam and Arya are both in Bravos, and I don't remember which happens in which book, but Sam and Arya.
In Feast.
And is that the book where there's like a double chapter with Sean? Oh my God, John and Sam have the same exact conversation from two points of view.
Yeah,
2 points of view. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to check.
So in the chapters in Feast, when Sam is in Bravos and he bumps into Arya, that's how they bump into each other. Is he finds him at the Happy Port, and it's like, you've got to get back to the ship. We've got a mission, and basically, Tyrion has decided to become a deserter.
A deserter, yeah. I mean, he was so stupid about it.
And he is with the girl, the hoe at the Happy Port, who it seems to the ages would fit. Her predilection to want to get married before she'll sleep with somebody.
Why would she want to relive that shit?
Well, she's probably crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, she's probably out of her mind.
Because then she was gang raped by a whole regiment of soldiers.
No, so basically. I mean, yeah, it's
horrible. Do think she was a virgin. And the truth is, you guys, and I wanted to talk about this is in my notes. I think Jaime lied. I think he had nothing to do with it, and Tywin made him say.
He admits that much. Yeah, he admits it.
Later on.
Okay, yeah, I thought so, but 100%, and that's, yeah.
Well, because and Jaime even thinks like, Tyrion was so happy with his crofter's daughter. I've never really seen him so happy, but he has no clue about what like Tyrion's version of this is. Like, I'm gonna kill my brother, I'm gonna rape my sister, like I'm gonna do all kinds of horrible dark shit. Like,
and this goes back to what Misha says always, is that Tyrion is much darker in the books.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes him more interesting. Like, he's funny because he's so sad and mean. It's a part of what makes him funny, and he's not as sad or mean on the shows anymore. He's just sort of funny.
No, I mean, yeah, they whitewashed Tyrion. They whitewashed him. He is nowhere near as dark as he is on the show than he is in the books, and that's a shame too.
He's also crazy handsome on the show compared to how he is in the books. He's like supposed to be quote ugly even for a dwarf, and then
I'm sorry, but
he's missing half his face. He's missing half his face.
Peter Dinklage is fine to me. I find him very attractive.
No, he's amazing. Yeah, everyone loves Peter Dinklage. Like,
I find him I find him very attractive just the way he is.
Yeah. He's been on like the cover of like men's magazines, and my kids are like, "Look, Mom, it's the guy you like." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, it is. It is. You're right. Totally. That's your guy."
Yeah, let's see what else. Mord. I'm hearing a lot about Mord in the
Who
in
cares
our chat.
about Mord?
But
okay, sorry. Let me find our chat. I didn't mean to be disrespectful to our chat.
yeah,
my answer is who cares about Mord, but what do we care about Mord?
Yeah, Bubba Husky says later on, Goldtooth Mord leads the Otis Marillion into the throne room at the Erie for his trial. So apparently, we know exactly what the gold was used for, to buy him some gold teeth. I mean,
wait. Yeah, back up and speak slower, because I missed that one.
But
what?
Tyrion said that he was going to pay him if he lived, and he did pay him.
Well,
so
and this
apparently, yeah, he
apparently Mord gets him a set of gold
teeth and get some gold fronts.
I wouldn't mind having this one and this one. You know what I mean? That's cute. That's a thing down here in Louisiana. If you're a girl, to have just this one and this one gold, the 2 pointers.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute.
I miss that piece. And it's funny too, because they're talking about like big shadow skin cloaks. Like Tyrion's a pimp. Like,
oh man, yeah, and I'm just excuse me, yeah, Mord. The reason that I'm bringing up Mord is because he can be bought now. He can be bought.
Well, he knows wealth. Like that's what impresses me so much with Tyrion. Is Tyrion knows. It's like he's like a little brat, like Jaime. He knows the best thing about him is his family's gold. So, I mean, and that's why Jaime loses his hand and starts to have to rely on other things. But he's so transactional. He's so transactional, and he's like, when he tells the story about how everyone got to rape his wife, he's like, and I went last, and all the other people gave silvers, but I gave a gold coin because my dad wanted to teach me the lesson that Lannisters are worth more than like the guard.
Than the normal people.
Really, and really vile. Like if you think there's a lot of people who are, I mean, like Jane Poole, horrible sexual mistreatment, but I really think Tyrion is one of the people who is up there on terms of people who have had really horrible sexual experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Bronn said he'd have killed the man.
Well,
and Tyrion says,
so insightful of you, Bronn.
Yeah, like, you may get that chance. And then Tyrion lays down to go to sleep after they've eaten this goat.
I wrote in my book, he will, with a smiley face.
He dreams of that he's the jailer and that it was Tywin in the sky cell. And he gets, I don't want to call it a bad dream necessarily.
So was that a glass candle or a weirwood dream, or is he allowed to just have a dream?
And then the reason that I also bring up Mord is because he may cause trouble for Peter Baelish later on.
Oh, is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there in the Vale with Peter Baelish and Sansa.
And he's in that Elaine chapter?
Yeah, he's in the Elaine. Well, not in the Elaine chapter.
When's the last time we heard from Mord has gold teeth? How did I miss this?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
okay.
He's in the Feast for Crows, Sansa and Elaine chapter.
Mord's in that one. All right.
And the reason that I bring him up is because he can be bought now, so he may cause trouble for Sansa and Peter Baelish later on. Thing is, now he has a taste of gold. So
literally,
I doubt. Yeah,
literally, he's got a taste for
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, exactly. He's wearing gold teeth now.
Sometimes George is so subtle. Like,
yeah,
I miss that.
he's gonna want that taste of gold. He's gonna want it again, and he may cause problems for Peter Baelish and later on.
So.
Also, we talk a little bit about Lynn Corbray. He was also there at the gate. He met Tyrion and Bronn. So Sansa being Tyrion's wife, you know, there may be some sort of a connection later on, you know, in the Winds of Winter for Sansa as well. Was there anyone else that they brought up besides Tyrion and Bronn and the rest of the and the rest of the clansmen. I'm trying to get everyone that we discussed in this chapter. Jamie, a little bit about Jamie. Jamie, we're gonna find out that Jamie lied to Tyrion and told him that she was nothing but a prostitute when in actuality that was his true wife. And we're gonna see Jamie, come to terms with that and finally tell Tyrion the truth. And I also just want to discuss the veil. The veil is also, is one of my favorite places in the story, and we're gonna see what's gonna be happening, in the veil later on. I thought, especially with the clansmen, that we're gonna meet at the end of this chapter, they are gonna play a huge role. I know it. I feel it coming. They are gonna play a huge role in the veil come the winds of winter. So they're definitely a group that we need to watch out for. Absolutely. I believe that 100%. I want to just say hello again to all of our people in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We're discussing Tyrion, and Tyrion has been victorious at his trial, and he's been let go, and he's with Bronn. And and then they're talking to each other, and they're trying to make their way to the Riverlands, I believe. Is it the Riverlands?
Yes.
Yeah, the Green Fork. That's where they're going. They're going to the Green Fork to meet up with his father. Now the story that they tell. Tyrion tells the story about his wife, Tysha, a crofter's daughter, someone born low. And apparently she was truly what she appeared to be. She was a crofter's daughter. She was Tyrion's wife. She loved Tyrion, and Tyrion loved her.
But we don't know that in this chapter. We don't find that out until after Jamie tells him. In this chapter, she's actually just a whore. Yeah, just a whore.
She believed.
Tywin has Tyrion
believe
and Jamie that she's a sex worker. Yeah, and that she's gonna get done by all the guards. Oh, is somebody making fun of me for sex?
You say sex.
Yes, Tywin Lannister is how cruel. What kind of a father would do this?
I don't know. You know who? Cersei's dad would.
Yeah, I mean,
that's some Cersei level bullshit. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's just
sorry, BBM. I try not to say bad things about Cersei when BBM's around. I'm failing again. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of a father would do this to his son? And it really just shows how much Tyrion just despises Tywin, and where the anger and the hurt and the resentment really comes from. It came from a certain place, and
it's legitimate.
And now we know it's legitimate, and it came directly from this horrible time in his life. He fell in love with the girl. The girl fell in love with him. He didn't even believe that he would ever find love.
Well, and it's
found it early.
So sad. And here's what I how we're like, Catelyn is so smart, but she's so blind when it comes to Peter Baelish. At least I say that. Tully, cheap. Tyrion is so smart when it comes to Bronn. I know you will sell me out. I will constantly make it worth your while. You're going to help me. And I know you have no honor. But I have no love for you, Dorf. He goes, I don't want your love. I want your sword. The fact that he can have such a transactional relationship with a woman and then somehow believe that that woman loves him, it's like you're paying for the girlfriend experience, man, but it's not there.
Yeah.
So he's very, very smart, but he has these poor, unfortunate blind spots, and you can't blame him. Oh my God, he's been one of, like I said, I think up there with Jane Poole is Tyrion in terms of sexually traumatized.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that don't do well, but nobody really talks about Tyrion that way, it seems.
Yeah, that's a good point. Him being traumatized sexually, because we don't see that in a lot of our male characters. Mainly the women are
and it says his body betrayed him. So it's like he accidentally raped his wife. You know what I mean? Like, how fucking crazy is that? You don't blame him for going nuts at the end. Like,
yeah,
that's intense.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. They got married. They got married and lived for 2 weeks completely.
Tyrion and Tysha and Tyrion rubbing each other's noses at each other. Yeah, it's like they're totally in love at like some Airbnb somewhere. It's adorable. Ugh.
And it was such a sad thing. He paid off the septum, hid his wife for 2 weeks, and then the septum sobered up and told Tywin Lannister, and that was.
It's all fun and games until Babadook finds out.
Yeah, and not only did he have his wife raped, he made his son watch that. And it kind of reminds me of Joffrey, how Joffrey killed Ned in front of Sansa and made her
Cersei killed that sand snake and made Illyria Sand watch on the show.
Right, yeah.
That's like uniquely, insanely horrible.
Yeah, I mean, they love to rub people's faces in their victories. It's not to just kill the person, but you have to make them watch.
You have to humiliate them. You have to humiliate them before they go. It's not good enough to like Ned Stark will look you in your face, ask for your last words, and then clip your head, and pray about it, and then pray about it.
Yeah, and then
meanwhile,
the Lannisters and
Tyrion, and Tywin is like, okay, well, first we're gonna rape your family, and then we're gonna set them on fire, and then we're gonna kill all of you.
Right.
Like, this is a lesson to everyone else.
Yeah, Cersei's the same way. Cersei threatened Tommen in Feast for Crows, saying that I'm gonna beat your whipping boy, and I'm gonna make you watch it. I mean, all of that, just making people watch it, rubbing their faces in it, runs in their family, and that's just awful. I mean, that all runs in that family. I mean, you can really tell how crazy they all are. And apparently, now that I think about it, Tywin married his cousin. So that incest and that madness runs in that family just like it ran in the Targaryen family.
I think that all of us have crazy in our family, whether it's the ability to warg into a wolf or the ability to be whatever. I think in these families, like, you can't even, I think, Jen, you said in history, what is it? The Tudors, there's like significant amounts of, so if you were to Google this, it exists. I swear to God, it's called a coefficient of inbreeding.
Yeah.
There's it's like, there's like a statistical model that you can use to determine the likelihood that, like, depending on what degree of relative it is, that you'll have a child with some sort of congenital issue. And that used to be a very important, it was called a Lod score. It was a very important.
It really showed up in Queen Victoria's grandchildren more than her children.
What did they have?
You know, they had hemophilia.
Oh, hemophilia. Okay, I was gonna say my education was
something called
little touch and go. Yeah, hemophilia. Okay, so that's is it X-linked hemophilia? It was like in the boys, and the women passed it along.
Yeah, and the women were the carriers. That was Queen Victoria. Albert was her first cousin.
Can I jump up on
her mom's brother?
I would like to jump up on a non-Game of Thrones related issue. This is a genetics issue. This is a genetics PSA, public service announcement. Most anything you think of as running in a family, eye color, hair color, cancer, not cancer, whatever. Sometimes cancer does run in families. A lot of times, I don't even want to talk about it. My point is, it's rarely one gene. It's rarely like a single gene disorder. I used to know the big word for that, and they made me. It's a monogenetic disorder. Yeah, things are rarely so simple as, oh, well, two parents with brown eyes could never possibly have a kid with blue eyes. That's not one thing. That's like a ton of different things. And to just hear people that are so clearly like, okay, well, it's an X-linked dominant issue with blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh my God, it's a fucking fantasy book. Sorry. I've gone off on a tangent, and I'm asking you guys to pull me back in.
Jen? Do you have any comments on the I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, then let me just, sorry. You're like, you don't get down with the incest. My point is, like, it's very common.
And I don't want to touch the subject, you know,
fine,
for safety reasons.
It was just, okay, like, for instance, Queen Victoria, this is where it showed up most in the English family. Queen Victoria married her first cousin, her mama's brother's son. Mm-hmm. And and her children had diseases, but the last Tsarina of Russia was actually her granddaughter, Alexandra. Their child, their only heir, the babies are. He had hemophilia so bad, which in turn made them bring that Rasputin fella in. But there's also another disease that begins with a P that runs rampant in inbreeding families. Let me look that up real quick. It's an odd disease, and it only comes, like, you can have hemophilia not necessarily because you're inbred, but because it's have that.
We all carry things. We all carry things, and that's why there's some genetic conditions that are so insanely rare that it's like a 1 in 40,000 chance that two people with that carriers for that gene would get together, and then a 1 in 4 chance that they would have a baby with that condition too. That's another thing. It's like
hemophilia and porphyria. Porphyria. That was a very common thing in her grandchildren, and even I think a couple of her own children had it. I think it's kind of makes you kind of shaky and just very susceptible to injuries as well.
Just to be clear, so with regards to the genetic conditions that can come with inbreeding, it's when the parents carry the same super rare mutation. Like, I carry rare mutations, you guys carry rare mutations. We're never going to probably find out about them because we're not going to get together with the same thing. But like, if you're in a family and there's like multiple cases within the same family of people being born with this crazy rare genetic disorder, that's when you start to be like, okay,
porphyria.
What other things are happening there? Because there's, moving on, please. More pleasant topics.
Yeah, it says porphyria negatively affects the skin or the nervous system.
Yeah, it makes you shake, kind of, and Marie says Mad King George had it, not Victoria's children. I think a few of her people ended up having it, but you're right, Marie, it probably came all the way back from that. But yeah, just the constant inbreeding, you know, with the cousins and the cousins and the cousins. I mean, you know, and then so many cousins. I mean, for instance, Louis the 16th, he was married to his first cousin. Anne of Austria's sister was married to the Spanish. Her brother was the Spanish king, and his daughter married Louis the 16th. They had 6 children together, which is a lot for back then. But only one of them made it. Only Louis the 15th made it to adulthood.
You imagine having birth at least 6 times in the Middle Ages?
Mm-mm.
No, I can't either. All right.
No.
Yeah, no.
That seems something impossible because
right, Mill, Joanne. Yeah. So that craziness Cersei gets, it might be even she might not be a Targ. It might be because she was really too closely inbred.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I remember watching the show. And they went back into Cersei's childhood, you know, when she met the witch, the Woods Witch, and I thought that she was crazy just because she was married to Robert, but apparently
she was always crazy.
She's always been cruel. She's always been cruel. She pinched Tyrion's little baby penis, until he cried.
Yeah, I mean that's another form of,
and that's insanity too. Like the whole fact that you blame a child for killing your mother when it obviously didn't ask to be born. That's not reasoning.
But I mean, I don't fault her for that because she was a child then. And like children come to crazy conclusions. Adults jump to crazy conclusions. What the cruelty towards a baby that is sleeping.
Yeah.
Whatever, he's like to die anyway. Like Jaime might not have stopped his sister, but he never did that to him. So there's obviously something different between Jaime and Cersei.
I don't think Jaime had any idea that she pushed malaria. Was her name Malaria?
Oh yeah. Well, something Melora, something in down that well. Yeah.
And basically, she pushed her down the well because she found out. I think the question she asked Maggie the Frog had something to do. It's not in the show, but in the book. In the show, she just runs out scared. In the book, she asked something about Jaime, and Cersei realizes her friend got a crush on Jaime, and she's jealous as hell.
Is that what happens? I thought it was because that might have been. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like be like that's what happened.
Let me say this one thing. Excuse me, Sarah. It was 3 girls that went to go see
in the book. Yeah,
in the books there were 3, not 2 in the show. There were 3.
There was 3, and Maggie the Frog says,
and another girl.
Only 2 of you are making it home tonight.
Yeah,
that's what Maggie the Frog says. And so Cersei's like, if no one repeats it, it won't be true. And it was so unfortunate that I think her name's Melara. Melara fell down a well that night. It was so crazy. Like she lies to herself so much that she obviously killed that girl.
Because she didn't want her near Jaime. And that other girl, denied, asked her. The Maggie the Frog asked the third girl, "Did you want to hear your fantasy?"
And she said no.
And she said no. She didn't want to hear it, and she walked off and ended up with the best outcome for herself.
Right.
And I think it was silly. I think it was wrong to do that. I don't want to know my future because that would run me crazy.
So the woman's like, everyone wants to know their future until they know their future. I don't remember that from the books. I remember that from the show. Like she was like sort of like sexy Amy Winehouse looking woman. She wasn't like as ugly and disgusting as they make her out to be in the books.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. We have a question, Laura D. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you think of Tyrion's endgame. Laura D. I just think that Tyrion's gonna make it. They ain't gonna kill Tyrion off. I don't know how, but he finds his way through all of this, and he manages to keep himself out of harm's way. So Laura D. I just think Tyrion's gonna live to the end.
What would be the reward of him dying at this point?
I think he's gonna live to the end, Laura D. And I think, and I've always thought this, though I do go back and forth quite a bit, but I've always thought that Tyrion would live and Sansa would live, and they would get back together.
No, Sansa, if I have to talk about Sansa, I don't think she's going to want to get married again.
Well, she's already married him technically.
Well, yeah, of course, but after that mess with Ramsay, I don't see her wanting to get married. Plus, she's the Lady of Winterfell now, and she ain't going to want to give that up, especially after all she suffered. So I don't think she's going to give it all away. She'll be giving away her power. The power that she's been without all of her life, that she just now finally got a chance at holding in her hands.
And Milt,
she's gonna give that up.
Milt and BBM are in the chat. I just so that everybody knows they are doing trivia tomorrow night, not tonight.
What's the topic? What's the topic? So I can study.
It's the topic, Milt.
Boys.
BBM Milt, what's the topic tomorrow night for Citadel of Trivia?
You don't have to answer. Thank you for chiming in. So let's talk. You guys want to talk about the Mountain Clansmen? It's been about an hour.
Yeah, let's get to them.
And it was a pretty short chapter. Oh, my hair is.
Milt K says sci-fi fantasy is the topic for tomorrow.
Okay, so everyone check out BBM and Milt K's.
Can you say it one more time? I wasn't listening.
The Citadel. the secrets of
sci-fi fantasy. Sci-fi fantasy. Okay, I'm gonna fail on that miserably, but if you know what you do, if you just type the first answer you see, sometimes you get it right. Because you're the second person to type that in. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's talk about mountain clans. All movement stopped. Okay, so he falls asleep. Tyrion. Bronn's warning was low and urgent. Tyrion was awake in the blink of an eye. The fire had burned down to embers, and the shadows were creeping in all around them. Bronn had raised himself to one knee, his sword in one hand and his dirk in the other. Tyrion held up a hand. "Stay still," it said. "Come and share our fire. The night is cold," he called out to the creeping shadows. "I fear we've got no wine to offer you, but you're welcome to some of our goat." And at that moment, our mountain, our goat. So we learn of, I love the mountain clansmen, and I know they're probably an exploited group because they fight for Tyrion, and I think they're treated pretty badly when Tyrion gets like half his face chopped off and is laid up in the capital. But so we Gunther, son of Gurn of the Stone Crows. We've got Shagga, son of Dolph. We've got Khan and Torek and Jagged. And more that Tyrion
more names.
And Tyrion forgot and more that Tyrion forgot the instant he heard them, 10 at least. I love that everyone is somebody. It's kind of like the opposite of the wildlings in that like everyone is somebody, but also you're all the same. Like if you can keep yourself alive, you're respected, and if you can't, you're not. I'm Tyrion of Clan Lannister, the Lions of the Rock. So it's like he's speaking in their language. He turns it around. He's speaking in their language. Okay. Is it Pete Easy, the one who invented, or at least got popular, the thing where like if you had to sum up this chapter with a T-shirt, what would that T-shirt be, or what would that T-shirt say? Did that happen, or am I just making that up?
It could be. Could be. If anybody's going to make up a T-shirt, it's going to be our T-shirt king of Atlanta.
Yeah. Actually, it was Jennifer who asked.
You were gonna give out like the snow cones, Jen.
Oh yeah, the blueberry snow cones.
Yeah. So I don't think I'd want to wear this on a shirt, but this is definitely a great line. How would you like to die, Tyrion, son of Tywin? In my own bed.
Yes.
In my own bed with a belly full of wine and a maiden's mouth around my cock at the age of 80, he replied. Shagga laughed first and loudest. So it's like he's befriending these people. Everyone loves a good dick joke. I mean, sorry, but it's true.
And then he's like, kill the other, and then he's like, when he offers them the goat, and he offers, oh, you're gonna pay us with our own stuff, half man. Yeah, because everything in this mountain is ours. And then he says, kill Bronn, but keep the half man to milk the goats and to put a smile on the mothers' faces.
I love when this is the first time we hear it. I chop off your manhood and feed it to the goats. Like that's his threat. He's like, I'm gonna chop off your manhood and feed it to the goats because. I mean, the goats are important in the mountains. Anyway, Gunther raises his hand, or Thor. Did you guys ever watch the movie Sing? It's like an animated movie, and there's that dance in it
with the little pigs.
Gunter is his name, I think, or Gunther or Gunter or something that is very similar to this. Gunther raised a hand. No, I'll hear his words. The mothers go hungry. The steel fills our mouths more than gold. So it's like he's a forward-thinking dude. Like, what would you give us for your lives, Tyrion, son of Tywin? Swords, lances, mail, all that and more. Gunther, son of Gurn, Tyrion Lannister replied, smiling. I will give you the Veil of Aaron. So it's because you have that to give away, like, but go on. I see what you're doing.
I mean, he knows he's figured out what these people need.
They're bitter about.
Really fast.
It's like they're born on the wrong side of the wall. It's like the wrong side of the track. Like they're bitter about that. And he's like, no. I'll give you all the weapons you want, and I'll also give you what you're going to use them for too. Like it reminds me.
And also, technically, let's remember the girl who was kidnapped. actually her child would be the heir to the veil, not Harry's Harding.
Oh, the girl that was by the Burn men took her away. Is that the girl you're talking about? Yeah.
Oh, like a cousin or?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
There's something I'm supposed to care about, but I don't. Tell me more about it.
Yeah. Peter Baelish is telling Sansa the story of what's going on with in the line of succession. He's talking about the line of succession. And
like
how Harold
some rando noble girl went missing.
Yeah, how Harold Harding is the heir to the veil after Sweet Robin, even though he does not have the Arryn name. He was born from an Arryn woman, which makes him have Arryn blood inside of his veins, even though he doesn't have the blood, or even though he doesn't have the name of Arryn. So that's pretty much what he's talking about. And one of the women were taken away, were carried off by Burn men. So I'm thinking, so what Jennifer and Sarah are saying that whoever, if she had a child,
that's actually closer.
Will be farther up in the line of succession than Robin, Arryn, and Harold Harding.
It almost makes you wonder exactly what went down in that situation, and was it not planned?
Well, and like, aren't they have such disdain for the mountain clans, because it has to go back to the first men and the Andal warriors and bronze Jan Royce and his copper armor. And is it copper or bronze? It's bronze. Bronze Jan. I said bronze Jan.
Let me say this about the clans. The clansmen are the original inhabitants of the Vale. They are the true Valesmen over the Andal lords. See, the Andal lords came in with the Arryns and all of the noble houses of the Vale, but the clansmen are the true and first men of the Vale. They're the true first men of the Vale. So in some circles, they will be seen as the royalty above the lordlings. The lordlings and the people of the noble houses, such as the Royces, the Corbrays, the Arryns, and so on and so forth. So there's sort of a brewing of a political line of succession going on here. And I think that's really where it comes from. This is very much printed and beautifully told in the book that George R.R. Martin put out, A World of Ice and Fire. If you don't have that book, check it out. And the mountain clans are mentioned and spoken about in that book. So check out that book if you haven't checked it out already. So there's definitely a political upheaval in the Vale of Arryn. Who should be the leaders of the Arryn? Should be the leaders of the Vale of Arryn? Should it be the mountain clans, or should it be the Andal lords? And the descendants of their noble houses.
I have to be honest with you. I have not thought about that. I have not thought about the mountain people since probably they got sent away after Tyrion got hurt. And all the Elaine chapters, I obsess over who all the people who are going to be a part of the Winged Knights armed guard are going to be. And like, I'm very preoccupied with the nobility of the Elaine chapters. And I'm just realizing now, I never really thought that much about what the clan folk might be up to and how they would play a role, if any, in all this.
And let's remember, a Lannister always pays his debts. And if Tyrion does end up making it, and is in a position of power, and the people in the Vale don't end up making it, it could very well be that he ends up fulfilling his promise to them.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that there's no throwaway lines in these books generally.
No, that's true. That's true. That everything means something. Absolutely. And the World of Ice and Fire book really goes into the history of the clansmen and the history of the Vale of Arryn and the history of all of the 17.
So doesn't that make you think that maybe it will be important because
absolutely,
if he's explaining it, then maybe it'll be important. But I have to tell you, when I read it and I read the sample chapter, I was not thinking about clansmen in the Vale at all.
The
or whatever.
Yeah, the clansmen are so gonna be.
I get that. Okay, so listen. I have a very weak spot, and it's for the Vale geography. The Erie what's the region? Is the region the Erie, or is the castle the Erie, or the Vale?
No, the castle is the Erie, and the
castle is the Erie,
so
the Vale is the region. Yeah. So like Gulltown is a part of the Vale.
Yes.
Technically.
Yes.
All right, those port cities. Yeah, okay, all right.
It's like a port town on the outskirts of the Vale.
Can we get our link bringers in the chat to throw some links out? We've got Chrissy, we've got JD, we've got Alicia, Marie, Bubba Husky's on Amino. We've got so many creators in here. If you guys could throw some links out, that'd be great. To Citadel of Trivia, Alicia's channel. Yeah, Marie's channel, everybody. If not, you guys hit their icon and you can it'll take you right to their channel and you can sub. A lot of good creators in the chat.
So yeah, as for the Vale of Arryn, yeah, I totally believe that the mountain clans are going to be a part of this. They already have the arms. They've got the arms ready. All they need is the motivation. And
can you imagine? Can you imagine someone giving the wildlings like a bunch of fucked up weapons?
Yeah, I mean Tyrion's gonna do that.
Yeah, Tyrion did it.
Yeah, Tyrion's gonna do that, and he did that purely out of revenge. So for what Liza Arryn did to him.
I think he also gave, because that talked him. He appealed to their sensibility, which is to go after.
Yeah,
like, their weapons were like busted as hell. Like the wildlings have better shit than that.
He totally knew what he was doing, and he totally had that, at the very least, that was always in Tyrion's mind as a plan B. Like, if we do get confronted going down this mountain, that's how I'm going to handle this.
Yeah, that's because they were confronted, going up that mountain and getting there. In the Catelyn chapter, 3 or 4 times they were attacked.
He's like, so you cut your friend's throat. And that's what we learned, like how like cold Bronn is. He's like, he would have done the same for me. He was bringing the mountain clansmen down. Chicken. He's like, I saw you grab your boy's hair and slit his throat. Like, you could have been like, it's gonna be okay, kill you. But no, he was just like, boom. But like, ow.
You guys, that could be somebody that I know from the Deep South, named Chiggin. It could be a nickname like how you call somebody Biggin.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that one. Okay. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, sometimes when you run across a bigger guy or somebody who's a junior, and you're just messing with them, you call them Biggin. You guys, a good movie I've seen lately, I want to say this. Tales of the White-tailed Deer. It's got Josh Brolin, and it's got that guy from Eastbound and Down, Danny McBride.
That's my boy. Like him.
Kitty Powers, he's in it. And it's a really, really cute movie. If you have a streaming service, it's on there right now. It's probably at Redbox right now because it's been on my streaming service for a while. But you guys, if you're looking for something to watch, that's a really cute movie. Tale of the White, or Legend of the White-tailed Deer. Check that out, you guys. Also, if you're a Jonathan Rhys-Meyers fan, there's a show out right now streaming called Damascus Spy or something like that, and it's very good. It's right after the Berlin Wall falls, and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers is a spy, and that's a very good show too.
Yes, we're discussing Tyrion tonight, and anything that we can come up with, pretty much.
Really, because we've really come to the end of my notes.
Yeah,
it's a short. It's a short chapter, but it's intense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I listen to Sarah. She's so polite. Hit like if you can.
Maybe they can't. Maybe they can't.
So sweetly said, though. Very sweet.
Well, I'm bossy. I'm being bossy nice. Isn't that nice?
In a sweet way. Yeah, Laura D, I believe. I'm not sure if the Damascus one is on Netflix, but I believe that Tales Legends of the White-tailed Deer is. If you don't have anything else to do tonight, you guys, that's a good little movie to get into. And it's very family friendly. There is a little bit of cussing in it, but it's so funny. Just let me regale one part of it. The kid he's kind of hip, and his dad has this hunting show called Buck Ferguson. And he said, yeah, you're going to kill your first deer. We're going to put it all over your boots. And the little kid goes, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. These is Timberlands.
Wait, why would you put a deer on someone's boots?
I don't know. I've always heard you put the blood on your first kill on your face. That's what I've always heard. Oh but I don't know the deal on the boots. I don't know the deal with that. But the little kid goes, no, you ain't either. These is Timberlands.
So I'm a huge hypocrite because I eat meat, but like when I hear things like that, they go, no, you just wipe the blood on the face. And I'm like, oh,
right. I eat meat as well, but let me just say this. I am a fried chicken lover, just like the hound. But if I had to pluck the damn feathers and wring its neck and do all that, I probably wouldn't eat very much chicken.
Well,
I had a set of great grandparents, though, that literally they did the whole 9 yards. They did that.
That kind of reminds me of the Brienne chapter.
Yes. Yeah. The life of a sellsword. Like, she's a highborn chick who can light a fire. Tyrion can't light a fire.
Yeah, and also what I meant by that was that she was made to kill chickens and things of that nature when she was given a sword in her hand.
Yeah. He's like, I remember that.
Yeah, her master at arms was telling her it's more than just more than what it seems to kill someone. So he would give her chickens to kill and things of that nature so she can get used to killing. And she's certainly gotten used to it on the show and in the books, no doubt about it. We're discussing Tyrion, and we're just talking about Tyrion, and Tyrion is just such a strange character. We really go into who he is here and what motivates him, and that story with Tysha certainly motivates him, and it's defined him now.
It really has. He's let that several of his experiences. He has maybe, put on a brave face and said, yes, sir, as a lot of us do to our parents, but when you talk about somebody who has built some resentments up, Tyrion is 100% resentful of Tywin. Sarah, I can see you got something to say, my girl. Unmute yourself.
Just be happy I didn't interrupt, but just pretend I did that really smoothly.
You did.
So good at that. It's like we see how we know now because we read this how many times. We know how damaged Tyrion is, and the relationship with Shay. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the book. I'm not going to talk about the show. In the show, it seems like they were like legit had like a bantery relationship and cared for each other and were in love. This is very much like, I love you, my sweetling. When are you going to get me in to see the wedding where I can see the juggling bear? Like, it was very transactional. And so what's hard for me to read is just how easily he sort of undresses Bronn. And it's like, no. I don't want you to be my friend. I just want you to fight for me and do what I say, and I'll pay you to keep me alive. And we're not going to be friends. I don't need your love. I just need your sword. How he can be so very like clearly transactional in that type of a relationship, but then be so blind when he's paying a woman to fuck him. Like, sorry, but he really seemed to think that
Shay loved him.
Yeah. And he really wants to keep her safe. Like, if he was smart, he would have just gotten rid of her before Cersei could get to her. Like, if he cared about her, like, she's probably gonna. It's lucky that she didn't get tortured like Aliaya did. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, that's true. And it was just you said it the best. He was paying for the GFE, the girlfriend experience, but he mistook that for real love.
Yeah, and Cersei mistakes admiration of her father as love.
Mm-hmm.
as well. All the Lannister kids think they're all fucked up in what they view. They view the wrong emotion as love.
Mm-hmm. True.
And it's gold. It's gold. It's power, and the one. Yeah, and so it's sort of heartbreaking for Tywin to know that the one person who can make him smile died giving birth to Tyrion, you know? But you hear of Tywin's dad and how he let a whore like hold court. And what happened when that man died was that he had her stripped of everything and sent away. And I guess she and Tysha are friends somewhere, and that's the irony of it being done to Cersei, which Kevin suggested that. Kevin was like, "Oh, I know what Tywin would do: strip her naked and send her through town."
No, he did that specifically
because she fucked his son. Yeah, she was like, "You didn't think to make a good match for her in court. You decided to use her for your own purposes."
It wasn't. I mean, that's true, but that wasn't really my reason.
Sorry.
No, it's no problem. But what I'm saying that he knew he wanted to humiliate her on purpose to take away her pride and to take away her strength. He did that on purpose, not so much to humiliate her and punish her, but to take her pride away and her power away. He did that on purpose.
Well,
he
I think
that on purpose for that reason.
I think he needed to keep. Well, listen, he was doing such a good job of keeping. Varys just straight up has him assassinated. He's like, "I'm sorry, but you're just doing too good a job of mending all these problems." And I love the epilogue from Dance with Dragons, and that it's Kevin's point of view, and he's like, it almost makes him sad at how broken Cersei is, but he's like, there's something he misliked about the way she said that, and it's like, well, we see from the show, like Cersei's having a comeback for sure. She's Cersei 2.0. Like she's got the zombie mountain fighting for her.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, she's making a comeback in the books too.
She's making a comeback in the books, but you don't think that when you put the books down. You don't think that. You don't know that Tyrion's gonna live. You don't know that Cersei's gonna live. Jon's just straight up stabbed. I mean, like we all
gonna make it. Cersei's gonna make it through her trial. I know that. I can feel it. And
I heard. Who do you think's gonna be the champion of the Seven? Like, so we've got like Cersei versus the Seven.
I don't know. I don't think they have some kind of secret warrior. Not someone that could defeat the Mountain. I think the Mountain is gonna fight for Cersei, and the Mountain's gonna win. I mean, rather Sir Robert Strong or whatever his name is. We all know who he is, and he's gonna win. He's gonna win, and Cersei's gonna make it through. Cersei's gonna beat those people.
So. What we saw on the show was that the High Sparrow outlaws trials by combat.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen in the books.
You think it's going to happen? Like the trial by combat is definitely going to happen.
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. No doubt. I have no doubt that Cersei's going to make it through that trial. I already knew it. I
don't remember. I don't remember where I heard this. The idea that Lancel, since he's about to join the like militant order of the faith, would be the one to have, because he's one of her accusers too, that he would do it, and he's obviously he can barely walk. He would personally, but like the High Septon, if one of the things that Cersei is accused of is incest, then Tommen is illegitimate, and therefore the High Septon has no power. So the High Septon would almost want to throw the fight. And what better person than Lancel, like if her own kin is willing to fight against her. But then we need to find, I mean, does Sir Robert Strong have a head? Do we know? I mean, he doesn't take his helmet off. Does he have a head?
I don't think he does.
I want to see his helmet knocked off and see there no head. Or like on the show, they give him that like nasty blue head.
Right.
I've always said I want him to have a dwarf head just because like Cersei's like so busy collecting dwarf heads.
Yeah, like they sewed one of those dwarf heads on him.
Because they gave, that's just like some sick shit I'm thinking about. Because like if they sent that giant skull, which was presumably his, to Dorne, and then there's like,
oh god, oh
sorry, Misha, sorry, Misha. The only thing worse than incest is Frankenstein talk.
This was so gruesome. Oh my god.
Sorry.
That's why I love Feast for Crows. You get all this.
You get a lot in Feast.
Next week. Yeah.
Next week, I believe it is Tyrion 6.
No, it's
Eddard. I think it's
Eddard.
Eddard 11.
Eddard something. I don't know.
I think it's Eddard 11.
X1.
No, he's not.
X.
Yet.
Yeah, that's Eddard 11.
X1.
Okay.
X1, not V1, X1.
Are there any questions in the chat? Do we have any questions in the chat? I should have asked this earlier. But do you have any questions in the chat? Please post them right now because we're moving toward the end of our discussion tonight. I do want to talk a little bit about the show because this was in the show. Tyrion meeting the clansmen, the trial itself. Tyrion meeting the clansmen. The one thing I do like about season 1 is because it was so close to the books. It's the only season where they really, really followed the books, and they did a pretty decent job of it. They didn't really change it too much, and I appreciate that.
I do too. I think they followed pretty closely up to the Red Wedding, and that's when I think the roads diverged there.
Yeah.
Do you need some water, Misha?
I need something. I need something to drink. I got some tea over here, y'all. But yeah, they really stay close to the books, and I so appreciated that. When they started to diverge from the books, that's when things got, hairy and misinterpreted. But they stayed close to the books for this first season, and I appreciate them for that. Why would you change something? I know that they had to cut it down and they couldn't use everyone and everything, but I just felt like in this first season, the first season was my favorite. Was my favorite of all the seasons. They stayed very close to the books, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate it too, and I think the production value went up post season 1. Like they got a bigger budget. For me, and I was like, I can no longer watch this and take it seriously.
I'm happy that they got the bigger budget.
But, I'm holding my earphone.
We have a question. We have a quick question from Alicia. Not pertaining to Tyrion, but curious to know what is your favorite prologue chapter in the series?
Mine is Feast.
My favorite prologue is Varamir Sixskins.
That's Dance, isn't
it?
It's
Dance, I believe. The reason that I like that one so much is because we go into life and death. We get to see exactly what's going on with this warg as he's dying, and even after he dies.
And the best prologues are Beyond the Wall, because I was going to say Game of Thrones prologue's amazing too. Waymore Royce up against those White Walkers.
That's a good one too. I just love Feast. Feast is my favorite book. I think I don't make any bones about that. We all have our favorites.
Another one is Chet's story. We talk about Chet in a
Is that an epilogue?
That's a prologue. That's an epilogue. No, that's a prologue.
It's a prologue to what?
A Storm of Swords.
Okay.
A Storm of Swords.
And the epilogue to Storm of Swords is Stoneheart.
Stoneheart and the Frey man.
The Pimple, Peter Pimple.
Merry,
so it's like these
Merry Frey.
These like down on your luck people in dire situations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chet and the Lady Stoneheart fodder.
Merry Frey is and the Royce man. The Royce, Waymore Royce for the
Waymore Royce. Mm-hmm. We get the most in the prologue of Game that we get really about the others.
Yeah. Just my favorite though, Alicia, is the Varamir Six-Skins chapter because we really go into life and death. A man dying, a man living, going through his life, a man that has strange powers. He's dying. He's moving on, past his mortal
You know how
shell.
we get that? When Bloodraven dissipates in the show?
Yeah.
I think that ties back into what you're saying, Misha, that prologue of Dance, and what he's talking about is he just kind of dissipates into the trees and into the I think they tie that in nice, even though it doesn't follow the book per se. I think that we get a good visual on what Varamir Sixskins was talking about when he became part of everything around him.
Yeah.
So another part of we haven't talked about this one yet, but are there any Standermen in the room? Is it Storm of Swords where Maester Crescent is
Maester Crescent.
Maester Crescent is talking about how he raised the Baratheon boys.
I feel so sorry for Mr. Crescent.
He's gonna poison Melisandre. He's gonna show her, and I don't have it. And
he had a special love for Stannis. You could
he
obviously
really
tell.
did. He
did. I felt so sorry for him because you could tell that he really never felt like Robert needed.
Davos tries to stop him. Davos tries to stop him from poisoning him.
Davos is just one of the few characters in this whole thing. There's a couple, but he's pretty high up there with one of the few that are just about as good as they come. Him and Brienne.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Maester Crescent, you could tell Renly was always spoiled and was kind of young when the parents died, and he talks about how Stannis took it the worst and how he always went out of his way to do extra for Stannis. And I really thought that Maester Crescent couldn't wrap his head around the fact that Stannis, especially when Stannis tells him, starts calling him old like the Red Woman, and really just devaluing him. I mean, a perfect example of a thankless job, like a nursing home attendant, a teacher. I mean, just somebody who maybe goes out of their way for so many people, and maybe a few people in particular, and then just very thankless job.
Yeah, I mean that Maester Crescent chapter was very telling about him. And let me say this about Maester Crescent. He had it on his desk what he was planning on doing. He had poisons and stuff on his desk, and then he fell asleep. Somebody could have came in there and saw exactly what he was planning.
Absolutely.
I think they already knew what he was planning from the beginning.
I think she knew.
Watching him.
I think she knew, and she had an antidote pretty handy or something, and then she let that happen, and it was a good thing for her because it made her seem like she could predict the future.
Yeah, that's true, and that's very true. And in that Melisandre chapter, we get to see that Melisandre is nothing but a big bag of tricks.
Yeah.
Probably knew that he was trying to poison her,
and they also portray that rather well in the show when she tells Selyse, a lot of because she's like, don't touch that bottle, because she asked her to give her bubble bath or bath gel, Westerosi style or whatever it is, but she tells her straight up, some people just need a little bit of the illusion.
Yeah.
And everything. So we get a pretty good explanation for that. Sarah, baby, are you trying to say something and you're muted, hon?
I might have been, but I decided to pay attention to the chat instead. I like what I was going to say was I was thinking in my head, I like the prologues and just the chapters where people are not necessarily super good at playing Game of Thrones, like Chet. Chet got talked at, like Chet lost his job tending ravens and is bitter and is planning a mutiny. Crescent, he's like, I'm going to be slick. I'm going to poison Melisandre. What's the other one? What's the other prologue? With the pig boy. What's it called? In your book, the
Feast.
Pate at the Citadel. Like,
shit doesn't work out for him either. Like I like people who are like gonna be they try to play the Game of Thrones and they're really bad at it, and you sort of learn what it's like. It's good world building, as the kids say. Good world building.
Yeah, someone asked a question in the chat. Where is it? Oh, Stacy asked, did the Storm of Swords have a prologue? Yes, Stacy, the Storm of Swords did have a prologue. Chet is the chapter, is the main character for the prologue in Storm of Swords.
Yeah, he's mad.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah,
he's mad as hell.
Oh, I can't.
He survived. Yeah, he survived the massacre at the Fist of the First Men, and they're about to go get all stabby on.
That's when he is bullying Sam, like, lay down. Just go ahead and lay down in the snow and die, because he never did get over him taking his cushy job.
Oh yeah, he probably would have still been alive. He would have still been alive if John hadn't can't come in there and messed up his good thing.
Yeah.
Does Chet die? Does Chet die at the end? I don't think Chet dies. I think it's just a failed mutiny. Like, no, they're planning the mutiny. He does?
Yeah, he does die.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. He does.
How does he die?
The White Walkers get him, I believe.
White Walkers get him. All right. Fade black. Yeah, I got to read that one. That's not what that wasn't on our homework assignment. I haven't done that reading recently.
Sarah's like, oh, that wasn't on the homework assignment.
Okay. This is our last call for questions.
Yeah.
If you have any questions.
Thank you for hanging out on a Friday night.
Thanks so much, everybody. And thanks for the different day. You know, this is real life, and it's 4 of us on the panel, and Elamar can't be with us tonight because she's actually on the way home from her vacation in a car. And Misha had something very important last night.
Yeah.
And we've just decided, unless the others say go ahead, if one of us is out, we all have to postpone, because it's just not the same without one of the originals.
JD says that Chet was a part of the rebellion at
Craster's
Keep. Was he? I don't believe that he
was. In the show he was. He's the one who got killed by Ghost, isn't he?
No, that's Raz. No, that's Raz.
Okay.
I would have to reread about Chet.
Or let's Google that shit. Let's figure it out.
Do it, Sarah. Do it.
Chet. Fate.
I would have to reread. I'm sorry. I haven't. It's been a long time since I read this.
Well, we read Tyrion.
Welcome, Cammy. Cammy, you got time to throw links out, link bringer? Throw Chrissy of Old Stone out. Throw JD out. Throw Alicia Kingston out. Throw BBM out. Throw Citadel of Trivia out. Throw everybody out. Marie. We've got Mackenzie. We've got so many creators. This is like the whole damn chat is people who do their own thing in here.
Okay. So Chet, it says Chet has not fed the dogs for a few days, so they will be extra fierce. And the confusion that would follow, the deserters would flee with the remaining horses and the food they had hoarded. Unfortunately for the conspirators, it begins to snow a few hours before they intend to set their plan into motion. Chet realizes that in fresh snow they would be easily followed and would not make good time, so he cancels the plan. Regardless, he decides to kill Sam while out of spite. However, at the moment Chet finds Sam, they hear they hear 3 horn blows, signaling that the others have been sighted. So then here's what happens via Sam's chapter. When the Whites attack the Night's Watch, beginning at the fight at the Fist, a trusting Samuel asks Chet for help in sending off ravens, but the kennel keeper runs away. Chet is killed during the battle, as Sam later encounters him as a White at an unnamed wildling village. A flock of ravens attacks the undead Chet and other Whites, allowing Samuel to be rescued by Cold Hands. So sometimes the ravens seem good, sometimes the ravens seem bad, but the ravens got on Chet and helped Sam and Gilly escape. But that did not happen in Tyrion 3, so I'm inclined to shut this down. But now we know what happens to Chet.
Yeah, Chet. You can't even blame Chet for being
so pissed. We're all right. I'm like, no, he doesn't die. You're like, yes, he does die. It's in different chapters. He doesn't die in the prologue. He dies later because you see him as a White.
Right. I can't blame Chet. I can't blame him for being pissed, because he would have still been alive John, signed his death warrant, and that John just signed his death warrant when he got Maester Aemon to put him out of there. I mean, absolutely. John killed him. It's subjective. Who really killed him?
There was a lot of people who died. I mean, Jewer, you could argue, killed a lot of people. I mean, what were they doing? What did they think they were going to find out there? I don't know. I'm not a battle commander. I don't know. I'm a young girl and unskilled in the ways of war, like Danny says, except for it's actually true in my case. I mean, I don't everyone's going missing.
Marie's got a question.
Why would you go up there?
Cold Hands kill the Night's Watch traitors in the books?
I can't remember. Maybe. I think it's presumably that the ones.
Well, can you look it up? Look it up, Sarah. Look that up for us.
So hold on. I will, but just a moment. So there's Night's Watchmen very north of the wall that Cold Hands kills.
I think they might just be deserters.
I think they're deserters from Craster's Keep.
Right.
That's always what I
thought. They got away from that, and then
when Cold Hands says, "Oh, I found the boar," I think it's presumably deserters from Craster's. But okay, what am I looking up now?
You're looking up who does Cold Hands kill? Look up Cold Hands kills deserters of the Night's Watch.
I'm just going to say, who did Cold Hands kill? Don't give me some of that show nonsense. Uncle Benjen is not Cold Hands. It is known.
Yeah, it is known. George R. Martin confirmed that in the books. Benjen is not Cold Hands.
I'm not finding an easy answer. I'm finding a long answer. That's not what I need right now. Okay, so the first comment on this really intelligent article that I'm not going to read from 2013 says, I was under the impression that Cold Hands killed some of the Black brothers who participated in murdering Craster and Mormont and were now on the run as foes and deserters. Lynn S. posted in September 24th, 2013. I agree with you. 5 years later. I'm biased, and I just read you the only answer off the internet that agrees with me. So that's my thought.
Okay. Well, Alicia has a comment. Jon Snow is kind of dumb at times. I mean, the boy only knows two things, nothing and how to give that Lord's kiss.
You say that like that's not a valuable skill.
Yeah, like eating at the Y is, something anybody can do properly.
Alicia, you done left me speechless, girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't throw a bone like that in here and not expect anything to happen.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, Jon Snow ain't the brightest bulb, but he's a good person all the same. I mean, him thinking that he could just leave the Night's Watch, that was stupid. I knew something was gonna happen.
I don't like that he sent his friends away. Like he's like, I get that he like didn't want his friends to see him as friends anymore, but like don't send them away. Those are the people that are gonna kill for you. Like, you surround yourself by people who hate you, and then you're surprised when they stab you. Like,
well, that's when he really that was a turning point for him, though, when he realized, you know what, these are my brothers now. Mm-hmm. These are my brothers now, and he needed that. And then we find out later that Lord Mormont knew that they all left, and he says something to him, I think, to the effect of, "How did you enjoy your little ride, your little midnight ride?"
He's like, honor brought me back. I didn't say it was your honor, though, or something like that. Like, it wasn't my honor.
Yeah, and he meant it was the honor of your brothers. And that's the way this works. When one of y'all is falling down, everybody else has to pick up the slack.
Well, apparently so. Well, they didn't pick it up in the Night's Watch. They certainly, and let me tell you something about these Night's Watch. I mean, John wanted to make them into true brothers, but they weren't brothers. They weren't brothers. I mean, some people, a lot of the Night's Watchmen came on board with that, but a lot of them didn't. a lot of them did not come on board with that sentimentality. And I appreciate John, but I just felt like that was sort of naive in the long run. These people are rapers and killers and murderers. Why would you want these people as your brothers?
To speak to Alicia's point, he either knows nothing or how to give good. I was going to say give good head, but yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Gotta swallow.
He seems pretty strategic when the others are attacking, or when the wildlings are attacking. Like in the books, there's times where he does seem I'm busting on him for getting stabbed. Like I wouldn't make it as long as he did, so I can't really talk personally. But I don't know, when he was with the filling the they made dummies like almost and they filled the gravel, they filled the barrels full of gravel, like the ways that they fought off the wildlings. You got to see John commanding Satin. Like Satin did really, Satin pissed himself, but he did well in battle. Like he was good with a crossbow. Like he taught the Molestown, I'm gonna call them the Molestown sex workers, but the Molestown horse sex worker, the Molestown sex workers, they trained them with crossbows. He did make a really diplomatic arrangement with the wildlings. It's just that not everyone was down with it. So it's like,
oh, hey, Moni. Yeah. Moni, are you still in the chat? Types. Okay. Hey, Cammie, Moni's in the chat. Moni, we sent you a link to join Bangers. I sent it to our Google chat.
So can I be rude and either jump off prematurely or suggest we wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. I know you need to get to a glass of red.
Oh, well, it's empty, but I'm not going to have any more.
Door in a shred.
I'm not going to have any more.
Look, I know at the next con, you know what I mean? If I drive, because liquor's cheaper in Louisiana. If I drive, I am going to, at the very least, have Sarah a box of wine.
I do love my red box wine.
Okay, everyone, we are going to shut it down for the night. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to Jennifer and Sarah for coming on with us. And LMR, we do miss you. And we hope you come back next week. Thank you all so much for joining us. And we'll be back next week with Edard. Edard,
I think Edard holds court. Yeah, Edard holds court.
Edard 11. Since Edard declares the mountain a traitor,
the Riverlands come to be like, yo, some big ass dude on a horse burned up our town. Yeah.
Edard is trying to take charge and trying to stand in for Robert, and we're gonna see how that turns out for him. So thank you all so much for joining us one last time, and please come back next week and for our next live stream. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful night.
All right, night everybody. Much love to everybody.